is I give you a demonstration. So here you can see we have the HTML5 browser, and if we navigate over to the hosts and clusters view, one of the key differences between Datrium and some of the other HCI folks out there is the fact that we're able to leverage any type of x86 server with SSD inside of it. So whenever I click on my cluster, you'll notice here that I have 4 hosts inside of the environment. The first host that we have here is an HP ProLiant DL360 Gen 9 server. Now, as we pivot the view down and we take a look at our other host, our N1530, you'll notice here that this is a Datrium branded DVX compute node CN2000, right? So both of these are running inside of a vSphere EVC cluster. Now, whenever we click on the menu, we're able to drill down inside of the Datrium DVX vSphere client plugin. On the main dashboard, we're presented with really a lot of information ranging from virtual machine IOPS to virtual machine throughput to average latency, both read and write latency as it's being seen by the virtual machine, as well as our host flash hit ratio. Now, as we drill down a little bit further, we're able to see our flash data reduction. So approximately I have 8.5 TB worth of usable flash. However, due to our compression, effectively 81 terabytes. Now, some of the host metrics as we move over here to the bottom right-hand corner of the screen include read IOPS, write IOPS, read latency, write latency, flash hit ratio. These are from a vSphere ESX host level. Now, as we scroll down here on the screen, we pivot the view from host information, our compute node, to the durable storage capacity, where I do have my encryption enabled. And again, this is FIPS 140-2 approved mode, and we're leveraging the Intel AES instruction set that's available. So this means that not only is data in flight encrypted, but also the data at rest through the entire Datrium DVX stack. I have 4 hosts, and kind of the scale up potential means here, since it's under data node, right? This is information as it relates to my data node. This means that I can add up to 28 additional hosts inside of my environment before I would need to require to add an additional data node to maximize the throughput. And then also we can see here how much network throughput we're driving in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. As we pivot the view over to data nodes, everybody likes to see kind of what this looks like behind the scenes. So the data node view gives you a health overview, hardware, software, high availability drives. One of the cool things that I like, you can even hover over the power and cooling and see what the RPMs of your fans are, for instance. Or you can hover over the Ethernet ports and see, I have 10 gigabit network adapters in here, and I'm leveraging SFP+. They're active. My data IP address, as well as the management IP address, right? The data we want to be non-routable. The IP for management, we obviously do want to be routable as well. So pretty cool thing here also is you can click on photo and you can actually see what this physically looks like in the inside of the rack. So, we have dual redundant power supplies, dual redundant NVMe on the inside, and we talked about that in the overview video that I showed you just the other day. So here we can see our dual controllers on the top, controller 2 on the bottom with redundant management and redundant data paths. So pretty cool view there that you can actually get to see what it looks like in the rack. So if you have ops management team, or maybe you leverage this inside of a co-location, you can give instruction on how to go in and troubleshoot, or maybe plug cables in. Lots of different reasons why you would want to know what this looks like. Pivoting back over to the main dashboard, one of my favorite parts of the DVX UI is the historical charts. So we keep performance information of all of your hosts, all of your virtual machines, all of your compute nodes, all of the data nodes for 365 days. So you're able to drill down in real time, and you'll see this here as I kind of uncheck some of the checkboxes for host read IOPS, right, all the way down. So I'm only interested in this demo of showing you some of the virtual machine information, right? So we're not dealing with LUNs and volumes. We're speaking in native, vSphere format, and we're speaking in the context of virtual machines. So here we can, in live scrub through almost like you're dubbing inside of, iTunes. If you're playing a song, for instance, and you want to fast forward or rewind, we can come through in here. We can click in real time at individual points on the different charts, and you'll notice on the right hand side that the graphics change or I should say the metrics change in real time as I click through this graph, which I think is pretty interesting because now I'm able to identify a problem with my worker VM002 that's, heavy on IOPS here, and maybe there is a problem. Maybe there isn't a problem, but we're able to identify fast and quick performance bottlenecks, troubleshoot individual virtual machines, maybe get inside of the application, see, well, why is this, individual VM, driving IO? Is this normal? You can zoom out in the performance graph there to see what's exactly going on. So if we pivot the view back over to the main Datrium DVX kind of dashboard, the next area as we kind of drill into this demo for you is the hosts. Now this is probably one of the coolest features that Datrium has, and we demoed this at one of the previous tech field days. So if we drill into my N1530 host here, and we'll notice under the monitor is where we get to the Datrium DVX plugin. So right now we're driving around 13,000 IOPS, and I only have a single individual virtual machine. Obviously this is a worker VM that is, performing IO intensive operations. So in order to kind of up the ante here for you, what we're going to go ahead and do is actually vMotion another virtual machine, just using standard, VMware vMotion technology from one host over to this ESX host as well. So not only we have one individual worker VM, we'll have two worker VMs. And this will complete here just in a few seconds. We'll go down to recent tasks. Done. Okay. So now you'll notice here my IO really hasn't changed too much, okay? So the reason for that is because we're leveraging up to 20% of the CPU horsepower inside of this compute node. Now on the top right-hand corner, this is in fast mode. So what we're going to do is flip this over to insane mode, and you'll see my IOPS in real time spike from where we're at 10,000 IOPS because it's kind of being throttled because we're only using 20% of the available CPU power. Now we're using up to 40%, and my IOPS increased from 10,000, 9,000, 11,000, all the way up to 33,000, almost 34,000 read IOPS that are coming out of my flash. That is pretty wicked technology, if you ask me, because now, if I have SQL Server, Oracle, SAP, any sort of high performance application, right? You're able to literally go in there and say, oh, you know what, something that might have traditionally taken, forklift upgrade kind of in the legacy SAN days because the controller is the bottleneck. We're literally able to leverage idle resources and turn it on with the click of a button. Pretty cool. So now kind of the last area of this demo that we're going to focus on is the concept of protection. So here you can see I only have one individual DVX. I don't have any replica partners where all of my traffic would be encrypted if I did add an additional DVX. So the first protection group that we have here created, which we'll go ahead and take a look at in editing as well as the schedule, give it a name, pretty straightforward there. Now the virtual machine pattern. So I like this because I'm able to dynamically populate my protection group. So say for instance I had an app that I wanted to take a snapshot of, and it had a front end, a middle end, and a back end SQL server. Or if I wanted to protect all of my SQL servers, so I can come in here and say star SQL star preview. Yep, lo and behold, there I got 2012 R2 as well as 2016 SQL instances that we're able to protect. So we can hit close there, and we'll just go back to our star. And if we go under individual machines, you'll notice on the right-hand side as we select them, we do have the option to use VSS. Now VSS requires that the Datrium VSS agent be installed inside of the guest operating system. And what this will do is it'll take an application consistent snapshot during that backup window. So as we continue along here, we're able to set our schedule. We're able to have multiple schedules for an individual protection group, so maybe we have different retention policies. Here I'm taking a daily snapshot at 12 a.m. I'm only keeping it for 2 weeks. However, if I wanted to increase that to monthly, and I needed to keep monthly snapshots for up to 4 years or 7 years for HIPAA requirements or PCI requirements, those can also be scheduled to be replicated off-site to my secondary or partner DVX. Now, as we drill into the protection group, this is where I have my recovery operations. So if we click on our Windows Server 2016 template, again, this is my lab environment that I'm in the process of building out. We can either clone that from a snapshot, restore it, replicate it. If we want to just view the individual virtual machine files or the virtual hard disks, or recover the VMX file because somebody in the environment thought that they were smart and started editing VMX files. That's never happened to anybody before, said no one. So there's a lot of really cool things that Datrium offers, especially from, virtual machine administration, and kind of heading back over here to the dashboard really quick, and we'll wrap things up for you. The top right hand corner, you noticed our green check mark. Yes, that shows that my overall health of my system is good, but it also gives me a navigation point to drill into data nodes or data store or protection, for instance. So we can use that as another way to pivot the views around across the environment. Kind of the one of the other last capabilities is being able to independently scale compute and capacity, so we can add data nodes, add hosts, we can easily upgrade. So this will connect out to the support.datrium.com upgrade server, see which versions are out there. Right now I'm running 3.1.1.2, which I just upgraded last week, as you can see here 5 days ago in the recent upgrade tasks. So this is the Datrium UI. I hope you enjoyed.